Great to be here in Beaudesert in Queensland with the man who's become known as the Beaudesert Storm, Dylan Biggs. Fantastic to come to your hometown. Tell us a little bit about Beaudesert.
Yeah, it's not a very big town, but it's got everything you need. It's nice and away from a lot of the distractions that you'd get for a lot of fighters, like all the partying and every place has got a pub, so you can't get away from the drinking, but I don't drink myself. Yeah, no clubs, no nothing like that. Nice, quiet country town.
And we're here at the Beaudesert Boxing Club, which is under your trainer's house. Looks like a place with a lot of character. What does this place mean to you and the other people who train out of here?
Yeah, it's a home away from home. I spend a lot of my time here, and I did a lot of my teenage years, from 10 years old and up. I spent a lot of time in this gym, building my character and just growing into the man that I've become today, to be honest. What
was that journey like for you? Who were you and who do you think you're becoming?
Oh, I was a very troublesome kid. I was going down a bad path. I had a lot of anger issues and a lot of, you could say, energy control issues or ADHD. And it was either live in the gym or live on the street. And I decided that the gym was the better option for me. So since I decided and got into it properly, I've dedicated most of my time and put it into the gym and yeah, just gone from there.
Is that how bad you felt it was getting, live on the street?
Oh, live on the street, more like being a local delinquent, hanging around with the wrong people and yeah, getting up to no good in the neighbourhood kind of thing.
And that's an option here in Beaudesert, is it?
Yeah, there's a lot of troubled youth in Beaudesert, same as there is a lot of places, but I try my best to educate the youth and that there's more, even coming from such a small town with humble beginnings such as Beaudesert, there's more to life than like just living on the streets and just causing trouble in the neighbourhood.
Clearly that's something that's important for you and for your trainer Justin, the idea of helping people in this area and people in general with this place.
Yeah, it definitely helped me, so I see a lot of use for it in helping the community. I see a lot of kids that have similar stories to me or have similar experiences that I know they could be helpful, and I like to put a lot of my time into helping the youth like that.
What did it do for you coming here? Was it a discipline thing? Was it routine, or was it a distraction or a purpose?
It's all of the above, really. It's everything. It's a place to let out bottled up anger and emotions that you've held onto, and another role model in my life, and just a home away from home, somewhere that I can go and I can be myself and I can train and let everything out that I had bottled up before.
And I'm sure it helps that you're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Did you figure that out early on, that this was something that maybe could be a career or at least a distinct interest?
So I wasn't very good to begin with. I was actually very uncoordinated, but I was just a tough kid who didn't mind getting in there and trading with people. I wasn't scared to get hit, which is a big part of boxing. And I found that I had punching power on a lot of people. I could punch hard for my size, and that seemed to be my thing. Obviously, I've perfected my other skills and tried to hone in everything, but yeah, over time, I've gone from when I started at about 10, 11 years old, just kind of in the gym, just to stop me from being elsewhere, and then got into the amateur fights, and I probably didn't start training properly till I was about 16, and then I went through Europe and did a lot in the amateurs and decided that it was now or never. I was either gonna stick to it properly or I was gonna get hurt in the amateurs sparring men and fighting men. So yeah, pretty much since that day I've been getting into it and putting more time to the gym and effort.
So was it in this room that you, well, aside from perhaps on the streets of Beaudesert, first threw a punch and first took a punch?
Actually, I've never been in a fight outside the boxing gym, which is something that a lot of people can't say, but yeah, never been in a fight outside the boxing gym. I guess I got here at a good time. Yeah, no punches outside the gym. This is the first place I threw my first punch.
What was that like? Do you remember? Because you were obviously pretty young, but the first time you hit someone, the first time you took a shot, what did you feel?
First time I threw a punch, it felt terrible because I did not know what I was doing at all. First time I punched someone, once I could distinguish between understanding that we're here to work with each other and I'm here to improve and I'm not trying to hurt this other person, then it was enjoyable for me and I enjoyed it and seemed to have a bit of a knack for it, I guess.
You only live quite close to here, is that right?
Yeah, you could probably about 200 metres.
But you drove here today?
Yeah, I did drive here.
Why is that?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Truthfully, because I was running late. That's the truth. But yeah, I guess just outside of boxing, I'm a lazy person, I guess.
That's great, though, isn't it? Being so close to the gym, does that is that a good thing for you? Being quite obsessive about your training, or is it can you get too much time in the gym?
Yeah, it's ridiculously convenient. There's no excuses. I can't say, oh, my car's broke down, I can't come to training. I've walked to training many, many times. It takes me, I think, 3 minutes. It's ridiculously close, but yeah, I don't see any downfalls to it. I only see upsides to being so close to the gym. I live there for convenience, and hopefully I don't have to move anytime soon, but I like living so close to the gym that I can train when I want.
It's pretty handy. People do that in a training camp. They might go and live somewhere with the gym, but you have that every day. That's got to be an advantage.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have to go too far from the gym, and like I said, Beaudesert's not a very big town, so everything is either within close walking range or a very, very, very short drive. There's never any traffic, so everything's within arm's reach, essentially. So I never have to wait for anything around this town, which is good.
You're the Australian champion now, and I'm sure the people of Beaudesert, being a small town, but a town that's had some sporting success over the years, would be right behind you. What is it like around here, walking around as the Aussie champion, the Beaudesert Storm?
Yeah, it's good. It's I guess it's pushed my hard work to the next level, to the point of recognition. Like nowadays I can walk around town, even though it's a small town, but nowadays I can walk around town and be recognised locally pretty much every time I go out, which has its pros and cons, but it's mostly it's good. I enjoy it. Yeah,
it's got to be uplifting, doesn't it, to have that level of support?
Yeah, it's very uplifting. It's good to see myself as a big part of the community, and hopefully I'm giving a positive influence to the rest of the community.
What do you think it does for kids? I'm sure you've gone back to your old schools and stuff like that. They must be excited that someone from here has blazed this sort of a path.
Yeah. I went back to my primary school and did a few speeches and got some photos with some students, and I did the same at the high school. And a lot of the old teachers that I had were congratulating me, and it's a strange feeling when you go back to your past and people kind of look up to you in a way, but it's very rewarding. And a lot of the kids in the high school seemed very, very interested in boxing, and I could tell that a lot of them were from the similar background as me. So it's like I said before, it's good to help like I was helped.
Is it a funny feeling because you think when I was out there amongst the students I was a bit of a scallywag, and now I'm up here with people sort of wanting to do what I've done? Is that why it's odd to you?
Yeah, I had a big personality shift. I was the kid that didn't listen and always got in trouble in school, but through boxing and I guess positive role models through the gym and a lot of help, I've matured and learnt a lot more life lessons that I hadn't learnt I was a kid, I guess you could say.
Do you think if you were a kid and the Australian Super Welterweight Champion came in to talk to assembly or the class, you would have listened, or would you have brushed that as well?
No, 100%. Fighting was always an interest of mine. It kind of, I wouldn't say it ran in my family, but like most kids, family members have boxed or fought in some essence. So it was always something that I wanted to get into.
Tell me about the nickname, the Beaudesert Storm, because I know it's a love-hate relationship that you have with that nickname, but it's certainly stuck, and it's a different one. Where did it come from, and what does it mean?
I can say love-hate all I want, but it's stuck now, so I'm stuck with it. But it's okay. I like being a representative of the town, so it gives me a good position in the community to push my opinions and to help the community. But yeah, it was originally from my manager, Brendan Smith, up in Toowoomba. He just decided on it one day, and I said no, but it's stuck, and I'm stuck with it now, so it's okay.
Tell me about what happened when you fought as a headline act on Fox Sports the first time. We know what happened in the fight. You stopped Ryan Mitchum with 3 knockdowns in the first round, but what happened here in Beaudesert?
We received a lot of information, you could say. Like, we had a lot of messages and phone calls from local people. Some of them may have been at the pub, telling us that pretty much the second that I walked into the ring, it was a massive thunderstorm in Beaudesert. And Beaudesert Storm, thunderstorm. They said it was a huge coincidence, but it was cool.
Is there something in that? Do you believe in such things?
I'm not a real hocus pocus, but it's cool to think about that those sort of effects are having on people, and that something as normal as a thunderstorm makes people think of me.
And what was the mood like from what you hear here in Beaudesert at the local pub and around the place when you had that big fight? Because it was a big fight for you and I'm sure the town.
Yeah, so we got a lot of videos from the local pub where they were live streaming the fight, and you couldn't walk around. It was packed to the brim.
And did you get videos of the storm, the Beaudesert Storm?
I don't know about that.
Are you hoping for a storm come November 22 when you have your next fight here in Beaudesert? Do you think as you walk to the ring against Nikita Tszyu, perhaps there's going to be another?
Oh, there'll be a storm in Newcastle.
It's a great little story though, the idea of the storm coming through. Do you sort of take all the support that you're receiving and that idea and everything as you start to prepare for what is clearly the biggest opportunity of your professional life?
Yeah. The support's been unreal, and I just embrace everything that I get. It's not a very big community in Beaudesert, but everyone's very close-knit, and everyone backs the sporting athletes coming up. So it's been a good experience for me.
And how are people reacting to the idea that you're about to fight against Kostya Tszyu's son, Tim Tszyu's brother, Nikita Tszyu?
I've received nothing but positive information, to be honest. Everyone's backing me. Everyone's exactly how they should be, and everyone's positive about it.
Do you feel the same throughout Australian boxing? There seems to be a feeling that you're the favourite heading into this fight amongst the hardcore boxing people in this country.
Yeah, I believe that the real boxing fans, the ones that watch it for the joy of the sport and for boxing itself, know that I'm the A-side, and they see me as the A-side.
And is that just because you got the title, or because you've got the runs on the board the way you see it?
I think I've got the numbers. I've got the numbers. I've had 10 fights, undefeated as a pro with 7 knockouts, and and I'm the youngest Australian champion in current Australian boxing. I think don't match me on my statistics here, but I think I'm something like the youngest super welterweight in the top 20 in Australia, something like that. Yeah, but it's been good.
It is crazy, isn't it, that you've got to this level, 10-0, Australian champion, about to headline on a pay-per-view event, and you are just 21 years of age.
Yeah, 22 in December, so coming up, just almost. But yeah, everything's been coming together. We had a bit of, I would be further ahead if we didn't have COVID pushing everything back, but the layoff maybe helped me in a way, but yeah, we just take everything that gets thrown at us, every opportunity, every fight, never turn down a fight, and I'm always in the gym, so I'm always ready for them.
I know you were working for a while after school. What were you doing?
I was doing disability support working. I used to do sleepover shift, overnight shift at one of my clients' house with cerebral palsy, doing looking after him, making sure he's okay because he lives by himself. It was very rewarding work, and I did really enjoy it, but as you get harder into the training and stepping up to the next level, the overnights and the lack of sleep really starts to impact you in your training. So I decided that after working with him for, I think, 3 years, I decided that going full-time with boxing was probably my best bet.
It's a very meaningful profession. Do you think that speaks to who you are or want to be as a person?
Yeah, it's very character building. It's I spent a lot of my time with my clients. As I said, I did overnight shifts, so it has built me as a person, and it's impacted me a lot as I grow into my manhood, because I started working with him when I was 18, so it had a big impact on me.
Do you think once you've achieved all that you can in your boxing, you'll go back to that sort of work or something in boxing, or do you have any plans? I know you're only 21, but do you think about such things?
Oh, not particularly, but when I think about it, I'm not a fan of PTing. I know a lot of boxers do it, but I'm not a fan of PTing, so I probably would go back to support work. It's rewarding, and yeah, I can't really fault it. It's good work. Night shift's a bit rough, but there's plenty of day shifts going around.
All right, well, we have to talk about Nikita Tszyu and the upcoming fight. We're here at the Beaudesert Boxing Club. I can't help but notice that just in front of you, there's a couple of signed Tszyu gloves. Strange to have them present while you're training for this fight.
You've got to put respect on the legend. He did his work, and he did a lot for the sport, and set up Australian boxing in a big way, so you got to put respect on him. Whether I'm fighting his son or not, he's happy to hang in the gym.
Have you got a favourite Australian boxer from the past, or someone that you particularly take note of their career or watch if you go down YouTube rabbit holes and the like?
Probably not Australian boxing. I do like Tszyu, but I'd say I only really look at Triple G is probably my favourite professional, but I don't really watch too much Australian boxing. It is changing in a big way, and it's on its way up, and I believe it does have a big future ahead of it. But yeah, I don't watch too much boxing, to be honest with you.
What did you like about Triple G? Just the power and the presence? Yeah,
the power, the respect. He held himself well. I'd say he's similar to myself in the way that he conducts himself, respectful, humble, and he didn't need his mouth to do the talking.
Do you have that sort of power?
Yes.
Do you believe you're developing into a one-punch knockout artist, though? Yeah.
I definitely think so. I think I'm only 21. I haven't got my manpower yet. It comes in, I forget the age. I think it's like 24, 25, something like that. But I think I've got a lot of power to come.
You showed a lot of power in your Australian title fight against Dan Hill. That was a major moment. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was good. He definitely came to fight, and he exactly like we said in the interviews is exactly how it went. I said I'd cut him up in the early rounds and take him to the later rounds and take him out, and he said he'd never take a backward step, and that's exactly what happened.
When you think about your power, what you've done, and you look at Nikita, do you feel convinced, if you're talking about those ages, he's in his man years at the moment, are you still convinced that you're the bigger puncher in this fight?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think my gift, as you could say, is punching power. I haven't always been the most naturally gifted in skills or in reflexes, but punching power's always been my thing.
And when you've watched him, what are you seeing? Is it because there's recklessness there, but clearly when he hits people, it has an impact. What do you see when you watch him?
Vulnerability. I see he's very hittable. And I'd imagine he's going to be working a lot in his defence in this camp coming up, but I don't see a good 6-8 week camp changing much.
And what about in terms of his attack, his offence? Do you worry about the power? Do you respect his power, or do you not think it's as bad as it looks?
I think he's probably a hard puncher, but I can't say I respect his power because I haven't felt it. It's been a long time since we sparred, so I can't say I respect his power, but I'm sure he can punch hard, and so can I, so it's not a problem.
Do you question the level of his opponents? So, like, we know who Jack Brubaker is, of course, and where he's been and what he's done, but some of the others, do you sort of query if they were as tricky or as tough opponents as perhaps they were given credit for?
I think it's a good question. I think a lot of his opponents have come to the fight, but they didn't come to win. I think he's had a lot of, whether it might not even be Nikita's fault, but like, I'm not going to say cherry picking or any of the other words, but whether it's they come to the fight and they kind of look like they take a bit of a dive, but I think a lot of the people that fight Nikita are looking for a money grab. Like, I've copped a lot on social media. People say I'm looking for the money grab, but I'm the current Super Welterweight Australian champ, and he wants the belt, so I don't see how that's a money grab. He's coming for me, I'm not coming for him.
So you think some of those guys have sort of just given away their record, have been overawed by the occasion, or were, never going to be up to that standard?
Yeah, I think it's like how you said it. There's a lot of people that he's fought that have the bright lights have shunned them away. They haven't taken it right, or the big crowds and just the whole atmosphere and experience has scared them a little bit, or they've known that they were losing coming into it, and they'd just been preparing to survive, essentially.
And in what way are you different? In what way is your attitude or your experience different to those guys going into this fight?
Oh, I'm coming to win. There's no chance. There's no doubt about it. That's what I'm coming to do. I'm not losing this fight.
What about the crowd and the occasion? Going to Newcastle, they call it Zoo Castle. There'll be a big crowd there. I don't know if they'll boo you, but I know they'll cheer for Nikita because they like the zoos. How will you cope with that experience coming from here at the beautiful Beaudesert Boxing Club, and while you have fought on a couple of decent-sized shows, this is going to be the biggest? Yeah.
So the way I like to think is the crowd's cool and all. It's like, it's nifty, it's cool, and he can win the crowd, but that's okay. There's only two people in the ring. We're the only ones punching each other in the face at the end of the day, and his crowd can't fight for him.
Are you going to do anything? Or maybe I should ask your trainer, Justin, this, but are you going to do anything to prepare yourself for fighting in front of a crowd like that during training camp? I know other boxers have played the audio of crowds while they've been going through sparring and stuff like that, or are there any plans for adjustment?
I don't think... I can't see myself having a problem with the big crowds, because I'm very good at tunnel vision, focusing on the task at hand, and they're all just extras at the end of the day.
What about fight week and all this sort of stuff? How are you going with all of that? Because I'm sure in the last few weeks you've had more of it than probably ever before.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of it, but it's part of the business, and I understand that people got to sell the fight, so it's okay.
You're going to get sick of me.
That's okay.
Did you enjoy the launch press conference? Because it was quite entertaining for those watching. There was a fair bit of back and forth and quite a bit of colour between you and Nikita. What mood did you sense?
I seen a lot of respect between me and him both, and I think for a good start, for the first time in a while, we seem to take the veil off and give the crowd a peek at what goes on behind the scenes, and let them know that people need to understand that we don't control the management or who fights who. We're, with lack of a better word, you could say puppets. Like, we train, we fight, but we don't control most of the business that goes on behind the scenes.
And a couple of the key topics there were the sparring session and also previous negotiations having fallen over. Where was that sparring session that's been so talked about?
I don't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Let me think. I think it was at, what's the gym on the Gold Coast that they train at now? Sanctum Forge.
So what happened?
Well, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but basically exactly what Nikita said is what happened. It was a well-placed punch and hit him in the right spot. He fell down, had a rest for a few seconds, got back up, and we continued to spar. We did a few more rounds after that, so not too much to think about.
Clearly, though, he's thought about it a lot. Were you surprised by how much he seems to have thought about it when he expressed that the other day?
It was a little bit strange, but it's okay.
Talk a bit more about that. What strange in what way?
Well, it's strange to think that another man's been thinking about you for the last 2 years, but I understand his premise and what he means by what he said. He's got, you could say, a vendetta out for me. We've got bad blood, and he's looking to settle it, and that's okay, because I want the fight. I want the big fights. So this is what I need.
Because the way he tells it, and he's had 7 professional fights, everything has been going towards this fight. This is the only fight that he's interested in. It's all been about you. How does that feel to hear that?
Oh, it's a pleasure. Someone with a big name and who could fight essentially who he wants in the division, to say that he's essentially been looking out for this fight for the last 2 years is a big deal. And I put a lot of respect for him for taking the big fights and wanting to, I guess you could say, avenge, in a sense, the sparring session. But yeah, at the end of the day, a fight's different to sparring, so.
Does it give you extra motivation or the need to work a bit harder, knowing how much it means to him? Because I guess previously it could have just felt like a fight, even though every fight is important. But now that you know that he's been laying there every night thinking about this opportunity, do you have to go to another level?
It's a new fight, so there's always another level to be reached. I'm always put 100% into the gym, and I always leave my heart in the ring. So regardless of who the opponent was, I was going to get to that next level anyway. But definitely, it's a big fight, and he's a very skilled opponent, so I'm bringing what I got, the best I've got.
But knowing that he's so motivated, are you going to be more motivated now, or is it just another fight to you?
No, it's a huge fight, but I take every fight seriously, and I don't overlook any opponent, so they've all been serious for me. I wouldn't say that I'm taking this fight as serious as I have others. I'd take it more serious, but not because of the opponent, more so because of how much it'll build my career after I win this fight. And
how do you see that? What do you think this leads to, or what's your understanding of what this leads to? Because I'm sure Brendan and others have spoken to you about the possibilities.
I'm not too sure. I try not to look past any fights, so I haven't really looked into it too much, but this fight's going to have a lot of press behind it, and I know there's going to be a lot of boxing fans and a lot of possible scouts watching that might be interested, so I'll take everything I can get, and hopefully everyone watches and I put on a good performance.
What would you like to do? Assuming you get past Nikita Tszyu, looks sensational, and the world comes knocking, what's your dream?
I could be the cringe guy and say world title like everyone says, but truthfully, I'll just take it as far as I can take it, and I'll be happy with that. As far as I can get in the sport, Australian boxing has had limitations in the past, but like I said, there's Tszyu hanging in the gym, and he's taken it to the top level, so I don't see why someone like me couldn't.
What happens in this fight, the way that you've seen it? Have you dreamt about it? Have you thought it? Well, I'm sure you've thought about it, but have you thought about how it ends and what's going to be happening at that moment?
Just to confirm, I haven't dreamt about it.
You haven't dreamt about the fight?
I haven't dreamt about it, no, not yet.
Do you ever dream about your fights?
No, I don't dream too often at all, to be honest. I don't like to make predictions because I feel like they set you up for failure in the fight, but I definitely like to stop this fight.
And clearly you believe you've got the power to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you seen moments in Nikita's previous fights that have given you particular hope? The Ben Horn fight, the Jack Brubaker fight, or others? Is there something that you've hung on to out of any of those moments?
Oh, it's a culmination of everything. Bits and pieces, adding little bits and pieces to my training to mould me into the fighter that beats him, essentially.
And if you were to dream about this fight, do you think there'd be a big storm in Beaudesert that night?
Probably.
Dylan, anything else you'd like to say or to talk about before we wrap up? Because I think we've started to crack through the surface of who you are and this place and everything else. Is there anything else we need to know?
I just hope everyone tunes in and has a good night on the 22nd.
It's very kind of you. Dylan Biggs, good luck against Nikita Tszyu. It's going to be a very entertaining fight. We can't wait for the build-up, and perhaps you hang on to your Australian title, and perhaps there's a big storm in Beaudesert.
We'll be done.